Rector, Dean, distinguished senior members of the university, and what I now consider friends. Goethe, the famous German writer, said, "It is not enough to know, you must also use the knowledge. It is not enough to wish, you must also act. Thinking in order to act, acting in order to think, that is the sum of all wisdom." I've been a researcher for most of my life. When the dean said he wanted to address the question, who is Michael Marmot, I was quite interested. I thought I might learn something. I've been asking myself that question for some time, but I've been a bit too busy to dwell on it. But I've been a researcher all my life. But if you're researching in public health, while you may be doing curiosity-driven research, and you don't author or co-author more than 1,000 papers, unless you are driven by the excitement of doing the research, there is at the back of your mind a nagging question. What if somebody took the results of the research seriously? And as you know, every researcher finishes every paper with that usual cry, more research is needed, more research is needed, more research is needed. And I thought, what if we had a different cry? More action is needed, more action is needed, more action is needed. And those two calls actually harmonize. They're not the least bit discordant. We do need more research, and we do need more action. And that's why I quote Goethe. It's not enough to know, you must use the knowledge. It's not enough to wish, you must also act. Thinking in order to act, acting in order to think. In the very act of trying to use our knowledge, we get new knowledge. We understand more. I am honored, pleased, overjoyed to be given this award this evening. One does not start out on an academic career with the hope that one day you might get a prize. That would be a vain hope. It's not in your mind. You do it because it's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege to do intellectual work, academic research. As I was coming down this evening, one of the hotel workers said to me, at least I think he said to me, because he was speaking Spanish, he said, "It's been a busy day. He's been working hard." And I was about to say, "I've been working hard." And I thought, my work is an absolute pleasure. The harder I work, the more I like it. The difference between his hard work and my hard work is my hard work nourishes my soul. But if an honor like this was just personal, it would lack meaning. I take this honor as honoring the work. Not honoring me, but honoring the work. And as some of you have heard me say, when we established the WHO Commission on Social Determinants of Health, I said we wanted to foster a social movement. The fact that you've honored me in this way, I take as an expression of being part of that social movement. All over the world now, we have people who are toiling in the spirit of social justice and health. People have been saying to me from the day that I started chairing the WHO Commission on Social Determinants of Health, no one will take you seriously unless you can make the economic case for action on health inequalities. And I think, what? I didn't study medicine in order to make my patients rich. I studied medicine because I wanted to help patients recover from illness, not to make them rich. And I didn't go into public health because I wanted to make societies rich. I went into public health because we wanted to make more people healthy. It's a moral argument, not an economic one. I get asked sometimes by young people, what would you advise in terms of career? And I say, advise. I've tried giving my own children advice and they never listened. Why would I advise anybody else's children? And I also say, giving advice to young people is too much responsibility. They might listen to what I said, and that would be terrible, because I don't mind giving governments advice, but to give young people advice. But what I say to them is, what a privilege it is to work in the field of social inequalities in health, to know that what you do day after day is working to improve the health of the disadvantaged. That is an absolute privilege. I wanted to finish because I've touched on this issue of, is this personal or does it represent something bigger? And I always worry about motivation. That's why I was quite interested in the question of who is Michael Marmot. I worry about motivation. Why do we do what we do? How much is it about the self and how much is it about the cause? I'd like to think it's about the cause. And I came across a famous quote from Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. And he says, I will give you a talisman. Whenever you are in doubt, or when the self becomes too much with you, apply the following test. Recall the face of the poorest and weakest man or woman whom you have seen, and ask yourself if the step you contemplate is going to be of any use to him. Will he gain anything by it? Will it restore him to control over his own life and destiny? In other words, will it lead to freedom for the hungry and the spiritually starving millions? Then you will find your doubts and yourself melt away. Rector, colleagues, thank you for the honor you bestow on me this evening and for honoring this field of social justice and health. Thank you.
Nos acompaña la Orquesta de Cámara de la Universidad de Panamá, dirigida por el maestro Luis Efraín Castro. Nos interpretarán dos piezas musicales. La primer movimiento de la obra Danzas Panamá del compositor William Grant Steele. Y la segunda composición es del compositor inglés Gustav Holst, Saint Paul Suite. Maestro.